Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful village nestled between green hills, lived an old woman named Dadi Amma. She was well past her youth, her back slightly bent, her hands wrinkled like dry leaves, but her heart was warm, and her smile was as bright as the morning sun. Dadi Amma lived in a tiny mud house with a thatched roof. She owned a small vegetable patch, a few hens, and an old wooden spinning wheel. She had no family, but the villagers loved her because she always shared what little she had. Every evening, children would gather around her house to listen to her stories. Despite her humble life, Dadi Amma was content. One chilly morning, as Dadi Amma was sweeping her courtyard, she heard a soft chirping sound. Under the neem tree, she found a tiny golden sparrow with an injured wing. Its feathers shimmered like pure gold in the sunlight. "Oh, you poor thing," Dadi Amma said gently, lifting the sparrow and bringing it inside. She tended to its wing with warm cloth and homemade balm. Days turned into weeks, and the sparrow recovered. But before it flew away, it spoke. "Kind Dadi Amma," it chirped, "you have saved my life. I'm no ordinary bird. I will grant you 3 wishes." Dadi Amma laughed heartily. "I have everything I need, little one. What more could I wish for?" But the sparrow insisted. At last, Dadi Amma thought for a moment and said, "All right, then. May my vegetable patch always stay green, my hens always lay enough eggs, and my spinning wheel never break." The sparrow blinked, surprised at her simple wishes, but granted them nonetheless. As promised, Dadi Amma's patch remained lush even in dry seasons, her hens gave fresh eggs daily, and her old spinning wheel worked like new. Life continued peacefully. One day, a rich merchant passing through the village heard of Dadi Amma's magical golden sparrow. Curious, he visited her and saw her modest home. "Old woman," he said arrogantly, "you have a bird that grants wishes, yet you live like this? You could be rich, live in a grand mansion, wear silk and gold. Why don't you wish for more?" Dadi Amma smiled and replied, "Why should I? My belly is full, my heart is light, and my nights are peaceful. What more does a person need?" The merchant scoffed and tried to buy the sparrow with a bag of gold. But Dadi Amma refused. Angry, the merchant set a trap near the neem tree and captured the sparrow. "Now you will grant me wishes," he demanded. But no matter how he begged or threatened, the sparrow stayed silent. The merchant grew frustrated and, in his greed, accidentally let the sparrow escape. News of the incident spread across the village. The villagers praised Dadi Amma for her wisdom. She simply chuckled and said, "Greed blinds people. Happiness comes from being thankful, not from having more." Years passed, and Dadi Amma grew older. She never asked the sparrow for more wishes, even when times were hard. The villagers always made sure she had enough, inspired by her contentment. One fine morning, when Dadi Amma passed away peacefully in her sleep, the entire village mourned her like family. The golden sparrow returned, circling her house thrice, its feathers glowing like the sun. And from that day on, a strange thing happened: the village's crops flourished, the wells never dried, and the people lived in harmony. Some said it was Dadi Amma's blessing. Others said it was the sparrow's gratitude. But all agreed on one thing: Dadi Amma's greatest wealth was her happiness with what she had.